What's up guys, my name is Ace, and today we got the big reveal for Black Ops 6. And I can finally let you know that a little while back, I did actually get to play some Black Ops 6 at the Treyarch Studio. And unfortunately, I can't really go into any details about my impressions or anything like that at this stage. All I can say is I have played this game. And in today's video, I am going to be going through all of the highlights, all of the main points that I think are most important to talk about here from today's reveal event, specifically relating to multiplayer. I'm not going to be talking about the campaign or the zombies at all here. This channel is really all about multiplayer, so that's what we're covering today. And without further ado, let's dive into probably the biggest change here that we see, or the biggest innovation with this game, and this is their omnidirectional movement. In Black Ops 6, you can sprint in any direction, you can dive in any direction, and you can dive and fire at the same time. And they have this new prone system as well, where if you try to spin while in prone, instead of doing that really awkward slow turn where your whole body spins very slowly, now you'll actually roll onto your back, which just looks a lot more natural and what you would expect if somebody were trying to roll over and look behind them while prone. But that also means you can do some pretty cool moves like a diving 180, for instance, and you'll spin around in the air, then you can shoot at somebody that was behind you. I think that's a pretty cool move. Next, something I noticed in these gameplay clips is it looks like in multiplayer, you'll also be able to take an enemy player hostage. You'll be able to get behind them and use them as a shield, as it's showing here. Then on top of that, they've worked out a new intelligent movement system that limits the number of button presses required for certain actions while moving around the map. And they do show the settings for this, and it shows this as something you can toggle on and off for all of the different options. So we have sprint assist, mantle assist, and crouch assist. According to this, we'll be able to customize that however we want, and if you don't like this intelligent movement system, it appears we can just turn them all off entirely. After that, sticking with new movement tech here, we also have corner slicing in the game, and this is something that happens automatically as you approach a corner. Your character will automatically lean on that corner, just like you would see operators do. And this looks pretty cool as well. It looks a lot more fluid and dynamic than like the leaning system from COD Ghosts back in the day where you had to activate that. It's also very different from mounting, so you're not attaching to the wall or anything. You'll simply see a subtle lean as you strafe around the corner if you are close to that corner. They also say this is tied to your movement speed, so the slower you approach that corner, the more you're going to see that lean take place, whereas if you come around really quickly, it's not going to lean for you nearly as much. After that, throughout the reveal, they did have a section talking about the improved fidelity and realism that they've done with this game. They have a system in place now where, depending on where in the body you're shooting somebody, when they die, it'll play a unique animation. So if you shoot them in the shoulder, for instance, that'll play a different death animation than if you shot them in the leg or the head, for instance. On top of that, it looks like we see some pretty drastic graphics improvements from Cold War. This is now running on the modern branch of the Call of Duty engine, although it still seems to have a very Black Ops look to it, which I'm happy to see that. This is something I was a little bit concerned about, is this would look just like Modern Warfare, for instance, with them transferring over to the new engine, but it still seems to have a very distinct Black Ops look and feel to it. Next, let's talk about our heads-up display in multiplayer. With Black Ops 6, they're bringing a ton of options into play, so you can customize your heads-up display however you want. So if you want to move your minimap around, you can do that. Or if you want to just turn it off, even in core game modes, you can do that. So you're not necessarily stuck with that minimap on the top left of your screen. And if you prefer it on the top right of your screen, you can do that. If you want it on the bottom center of your screen, it looks like you can do that as well. And I think this is pretty cool. For me, I'm probably just going to be sticking to the standard layout, just because that's what I've been used to for all of these years of Call of Duty, and it is my preferred layout in an FPS game. But the fact that they're providing those options is excellent. Then let's talk a little bit about Prestige. They had a section talking about this, and while they didn't go into every single detail of how the Prestige works, I'm sure we'll find out more information about this as time goes on. What they did mention is we are going to be seeing a more traditional Call of Duty Prestige system, and it's going to be fully available from day one. And to me, that sounds like we aren't getting seasonal additions to our Prestige or anything. Prestige is our Prestige, and this is what's going to be taking place throughout the entire game. And then I think it's pretty safe to assume here, since they're saying it's a more traditional Prestige system, it's likely going to be set up in a way where when you Prestige, you have to re-unlock all your items again, hopefully with some permanent unlock tokens and other advancements that they made with the Prestige system over all those years of our traditional Prestige. In either case, I'm definitely excited to see more information when it comes to Prestige, and this is something I'm personally really looking forward to. I know it's a little bit polarizing. Some people don't like the traditional Prestige system. Other people love it. For me, I think this is going to increase my playtime quite a bit this time around with Call of Duty. Next up, I had a little section where Matt was talking about the 3 different playstyles that they focused their gameplay design around when creating Black Ops 6. This is something that we've seen in the past, like with Modern Warfare 2. This is where the Sentinels term came from Infinity Ward. This time, no Sentinels, I'm glad to see. It looks like they focused it around Enforcers, who are going to be the Slayers that like to kill and stay on the move. Then they've got Recon, which is all about intel and counter-intel play. And then finally, they have these Strategists, who are the support players that are all about objective play. And I mean, when it comes to this stuff, we really just have to wait to see how it ends up playing out once we get it in the hands of the community. But it is refreshing to see that they don't have a dedicated role that they focused on for Sentinel play, because we all know how that worked out with Modern Warfare 2. Next up, just wanted to make a quick note that's different from Black Ops Cold War. They are going to have a traditional score streak system in this game, not the Cold War style score streak system, but a true streak system where if you die, it resets and you have to start your streak over again. And I think that's excellent news. That was one of my least favorite things about Black Ops Cold War, and I'm really glad to see that streak system gone. After that, something a lot of people are going to be very happy to see, theater mode is finally coming back to Call of Duty. It's been a very long time since we've had access to theater mode, so we will be able to go in, watch our matches again, watch them from other players' perspectives as well, or from a third-person perspective. We can get some cool cinematic shots. I'm really looking forward to having that back in the game as well. And now let's talk a little bit about content for multiplayer at launch. It appears we're going to be getting 12 6v6 maps at launch, and then 4 strike maps, which are going to be much smaller maps, like 2v2 gunfight style maps. However, they also mentioned you'll be able to play 6v6 on those maps, so it looks like Face-Off is returning, and I know a lot of people will be happy to see that. That seemed to be quite a popular mode back in Cold War. I hope they keep it similar where we don't have score streaks in those face-off playlists. So it's just all about fast-paced gun-on-gun action, and you don't have to worry about streaks just constantly raining down on you with nowhere to hide since the map is so small. Another note on map design, they did mention 3-lane maps, so it appears that's going to be a big focus, which is no surprise. It's a Treyarch game. Treyarch loves their 3-lane maps. In my opinion, 3-lane maps are by far the best for Call of Duty with a 6v6 experience. It just makes the most sense. And Treyarch maps is something I'm really looking forward to, as well as Treyarch spawns. Hopefully the spawns are in a good state for launch. Next, throughout the reveal, we did get a brief flash at our first look at Gunsmith in Black Ops 6, and it appears it's going to be quite similar to what we're seeing in many ways. Like, you can see the list of attachments toward the bottom. That's a very familiar looking layout. But with this screenshot, it does appear we can have up to 8 attachments on the gun, although I'm assuming that's going to be through wildcards. Apparently, we're going to have 3 tiers of perks as well as wildcards available. And another thing with the perks is, according to Charlie Intel, perks are divided into perk 1, 2, and 3, and if you equip the same category of perks across all 3, which I'm sure we'll get a lot more information about as time goes on, then you get a specialty, which is like an additional perk added to your character. And with that, that is going to wrap it up for the primary things that I wanted to talk about in today's video, mainly just the big things. However, I noticed there's also a bunch of just little things that I picked out here or there that aren't really deserving of their own entire section in this video. And instead, I think I'll make another video throughout the week this week, pulling out all of these little details that you can find throughout this as well. Just a hint on one of them, for instance, it looks like Nuketown is returning. So with that, that is going to wrap it up for the primary things that we learned today when it comes to multiplayer. And at the end of the day, I'm sure I've already got a lot of comments on the video and a lot of people thinking this. With this reveal, there was obviously no mention of matchmaking or persistent lobbies or anything like that. And I know for many people, that's the big elephant in the room. This is something where I hope they talk about this more as time goes on. They did mention Call of Duty Next is coming toward the end of August, which honestly, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to attend that, since I probably won't want to be leaving my wife alone with a newborn baby at that stage. But in either case, since I am anticipating a lot of comments about that, we haven't heard anything about any potential changes to matchmaking or disbanding lobbies or anything like that. And I would say probably don't hold your breath on that. I never really expect this stuff to change. I think it would be a really pleasant surprise if it does, but we just don't know at this point. And with that, this is where I'm curious to hear from you guys in those comments down below. Based on what you saw in this reveal for Black Ops 6, how are you feeling about all of this news? Are you generally happy to see a lot of these changes and improvements? Or are there any that you're skeptical about or just straight up don't like at all? Just let me know down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated. And don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.